Jake Paul has just responded to a call out from heavyweight champion Oleksandr Usyk. Usyk and his team have recently shown interest in fighting Jake Paul in MMA, with Usyk's manager Sergey Lapin recently saying that he's interested in fighting Jake. He said Usyk has always cared only about fighting the best and creating a lasting legacy in the great sport of boxing. But in the future, as he further solidifies his place as one of the true great fighters, we'll see what other opportunities open up for him. It might be great to step in the cage with Jake Paul under MMA rules. It'll be interesting if there's money to be made from it. Also, we never say never about fighting the dangerous Alex Pereira, possibly partnered with Dana White. Dana's move to boxing could open the door for more fights between boxers and current UFC stars. Dana is a capable guy, and with Turkey's abilities, they will create a very interesting project. It will bring attention to our great sport, expand the fan base, attract new investment, and possibly increase the purses of the athletes. With Oleksandr Usyk reposting today on social media a possible MMA fight between him and Jake Paul, with him adding Jake and putting the eyes emoji, pretty much hinting at it and saying that he's interested to fight Jake Paul in MMA. With Jake responding on his socials saying, should we do this, with a poll yes or no. So it seems like both guys are interested in actually making this happen in MMA. Jake Paul is signed to the PFL. He signed there a couple years ago, but is yet to make an MMA debut. He's been saying he's looking for an opponent. He's been saying that he wants to fight in MMA with a big name, and this would definitely be that if he were to get in the octagon or in the cage with Oleksandr Usyk, of all people, the current heavyweight champion of the world in boxing. Now, that wouldn't be a boxing match. MMA is a bit different. Jake Paul has a little bit of wrestling experience, so maybe that could make it a bit interesting. That's probably why Usyk is calling him out for MMA and not boxing, just to even up the odds a little bit and give Jake Paul a little bit of a chance. But it is a pretty crazy call out. Jake Paul's promotion responded to it saying, who y'all got? With Dan Hardy recently giving his thoughts on the matchup, and it doesn't seem like he thinks this will happen or Jake will take the fight. He said, I know for a fact that Usyk is interested, like legitimately interested in fighting in MMA, and he's the kind of person. He's eccentric enough to have a wrestling skill set, or he's like a brown belt in something like that. I would imagine he's the kind of person that just happened to pick up a brown belt along the way between fights. He seems like an interesting person who would take to MMA very well. The downside to Jake Paul though is unless his wrestling is up to par, that's a horrible fight for him in boxing or mixed martial arts. Usyk's a smart guy with great footwork. He's ambidextrous. I think he would be a problem in mixed martial arts. I think if we see Jake Paul, he's going to be fighting someone that's well into their 40s if it's an MMA fight. So Dan Hardy doesn't think Jake Paul would even take an MMA fight against Oleksandr Usyk. Previously, both Jake Paul and Usyk have linked up, with them saying, I'm very feel.
I am too.
Both Usyk and Jake Paul were in the top 5 highest paid boxers of 2024, with Fury being number 1 with $147 million made from his 2 fights against Usyk. Usyk at $122 million from his 2 fights with Fury. Canelo at $73 million from his fights against Jaime Munguia and John Ryder. Anthony Joshua at $60 million from his fights with Francis Ngannou and Daniel Dubois. Then Jake Paul with $48 million from his fights with Mike Perry and Mike Tyson. Then Naoya Inoue with $42 million from his fights with Luis Neri and TJ Doheny. There was even a fan-made poster of Jake Paul versus Oleksandr Usyk a couple months ago when Usyk beat Fury, and before it seemed like a joke poster, but now Usyk's actually calling out Jake. Jake is responding. It seems like this is actually possible to go down. There have been a lot of responses on social media to this fight saying, how does high-level boxing work against D1 wrestling? Wakey Wines clapping. Jake runs away from real fights. He wouldn't dare do this. No way. This could actually be interesting. Usyk knocks him out round 1. Usyk by manslaughter. Jake was a high school wrestler, right? D3 level? Usyk by I'm very feel. You know what? Hell yeah. Run it, LMAO. If it doesn't happen, we know Jake ducked. He's been asking for a big fight and MMA debut. Why the F MMA if both are boxers? Honestly, if Usyk retires on top, he deserves to do stupid fun fights, lol. Jake's gonna take this thinking Usyk can't wrestle. Just why? Jake has to get knocked out. Jake isn't an MMA fighter. He's much more of a boxer. His high school wrestling days won't help him against Usyk. He's getting knocked out. A clip of someone talking about an offer made by Jake Paul has recently surfaced, with props saying, I hope Jake Paul sues people like this for just absolutely lying with no shame.
Jake wanted to fight you. Why didn't you fight him?
We started to talk about it. I said, let's have a fight. I saw some of the fights that he had. I don't think they are good fights. I know I can beat him. I get all excited about this fight. And one of the guys that works with Jake tells me, listen, I have Jake on the phone. He wants to know your height. He wants to know your weight. What's your background? Then he tells me, listen, all of this has to stay under wraps. We got on the phone. What does he tell me? Because I know who you are and I know how much you respect yourself. This fight can make a lot of money. But in this fight here, you couldn't do what you normally do. I didn't understand. I said, look, if he can knock me out, go ahead, knock me out. But I'm knocking him the fuck out. No, you can't knock him out. You can't hurt him.
If Jake was here right now, what would you tell him?
Good job that you're able to put on a show like this and fool everybody. That is a coward move.
Yeah.
To take everybody's money like that. You're not a real man. The problem with Jake is that he believes that money makes the man, but it's the man that makes the money.
Jake Paul's management responded to this clip saying, "Who is this guy?" Prob responded saying, "Seems like some wannabe Andrew Tate," making up a story about Jake offering him a fight and then acting like Jake was trying to rig this imaginary fight. He's just another clout chaser lying for no reason. Jake Paul recently made an offer to Tommy Fury. He said, "I'm offering Tommy Fury $3 million to fight me in 2025. The number is $4 million if he can legally get into the US. Let's see who is ducking who," with Dylan Dennis responding to Jake saying, "How am I making more to fight KSI?" And Jake calls himself the face of boxing. Jake Paul's management responded to Dylan saying, "No, you absolutely were not going to make more, and now you are making zero." Obviously because Dylan Dennis is now not fighting KSI, or at least that fight is postponed indefinitely. We don't know if that's going to get rescheduled or anything. But Jake Paul has recently called out one of Oleksandr Usyk's former opponents, that being AJ Anthony Joshua, to a fight, saying he would destroy and beat AJ up.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know I will
just got knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this, but I want to fight you.
So a very bold call out from Jake Paul, saying that he would beat up Anthony Joshua, a former two-time heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist, heavyweight, heavy-handed puncher, as Logan Paul, his brother, even confronted him about fighting AJ, saying, "Are you serious?" And Jake even saying that there's an actual offer for a 2026 fight.
When you called out Anthony Joshua, were you on cocaine?
Why did you do that?
To be the heavyweight champion of the world. His chin's gone.
But he's still Anthony Joshua.
Which is stiff and no rhythm, no skill, just power.
You're serious about fighting him?
Yeah. It's in 2026, we already talked.
Congrats on having such massive balls and also being super rich.
A heavy-handed heavyweight who never fought Usyk or AJ, Deontay Wilder, is going to be returning to the ring. He's facing Tyrell Herndon in a heavyweight clash on June 27th in Wichita, Kansas. So the Bronze Bomber is making his comeback, a return fight to get back into the heavyweight mix. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on this entire situation. Oleksandr Usyk calling out Jake Paul, Jake responding. But I'll be sure to keep you guys in the loop with all future fights and updates, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys enjoy.